Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
Okay.
Good afternoon. I have an ID, a phone number, excuse me, 0106. Who's this?
This is Marta Diaz.
Marta Diaz, welcome. Miss Marta, are you here to in listen mode or you're going to be participating?
I'm going to be participating. I'm the executive director of the Miami Lakes Chamber of Commerce.
Perfect. Okay. Are you going to be on the phone or you're going to have a video as well?
I'm gonna be on the phone. I'm away from the video.
Okay. I'm sorry. You said Marta Diaz?
Marta Diaz with the Miami Lakes Chamber.
Miami Lakes Chamber. Perfect. I'll put you in a brief news.
Thank you.
To the meeting.
along the way with that. I appreciate that.
Sure. Actually, Lorenzo, if you're on the call and can chime in.
Oh, that'd be great. Oh, Lorenzo's there. There he is. Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about it.
Okay.
These are informal meetings, so I'll say the rules, but basically it's just for discussion purposes what this meeting is. That's it.
Okay.
You can't do anything else.
Perfect. It's just a discussion. Understood. Perfect. Okay, good. All right. So, do we do like we formally do like a roll call? Is that part of it? Are there minutes taken? None of that. Minutes are taken.
I'll go through the rules.
Okay. Oh, you are going to. Oh, when we start. Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. A, just a couple of questions. I have some, I believe, members on other committees. I just want to make sure that I have their names correct. I have Fred Sandra. He's not part of this committee. He's part of this committee?
Senra, he's a vice president, I think, of the chamber, Magaly chamber.
Oh, okay. Ms. Eddie, I believe Ms. John Tingle has the hand up for a couple of minutes. I don't know if he wants to say me anything.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, mute him, of course. When do we formally start?
Can you hear me, Eddie?
I hear you.
Oh, we have a secretary? Who's the secretary here?
We do not have a secretary.
Okay,
He's not here.
we have a lot of, different names on here. We'll have to check later on all the names, okay?
Okay, we'll make sure that when someone speaks, that they make sure they give you first and last name.
Yeah, because there are a lot of names here that don't, are not part of the EDC, so. Okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Mr. Cobillo is going to explain what the rules are, so we are clear. I've never been part of a sunshine meeting, so we'll get those points of clarification.
Yeah, I think we might need a formal secretary here on this one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
John, we have confidence in you, sir.
All right, we got you.
We'll put in a brief minute. Gina, are you there? Gina Longo?
Yes, I am, sir. Ashley and I are here.
All right, you guys are going to handle taking or developing minutes for this sunshine meeting, correct?
Yes, sir.
We take notes as well,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, and there will be minutes of this meeting.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hi, Ms. Sarah, can you hear me?
Hi, yes, how are you? Yes, I can hear you.
Good, good. I'm sorry, are you part of the public or part of the committee?
Of the chamber,
Okay,
for the Miami chamber, yes.
And your name is Sarah?
Sara, with the H at the end, Suarez, my last name.
Suarez, perfect. Welcome.
Thank you.
Herman, how many of the council members do you have? I see Councilmember Carrasco.
Correct.
That's the only one?
Yes, so far. Mayor Steve just joined.
Got it.
Hey guys, just so everybody knows, there's some confusion because Councilman Rodriguez, Councilman Ruano, myself, and several other members, I think of Economic Development, are in another Zoom meeting just all waiting there. The calendar invite that we got is one of the numbers is off. So instead of being I'll tell you exactly, instead of being 475, it's 474-152. So the calendar invite says that we all got 666-474-152. This one is 475-152. So that's why I think there's people in that other chat. And mind, if you can go in there and kind of talk to them and bring them over.
Can you repeat the number? 474? Mr. Mayor, you said 666-474-152?
474-152. The Councilman Morano, Jeffrey Rodriguez, Councilman Rodriguez, and there's two other individuals in there.
Okay, let's see what can we do.
474-512?
Ramon, I have put the link to this meeting in that group chat, in the other group. So that way everybody
Can you route them to, they just need to change the meeting ID, that's it.
Okay.
To the 666-475-152.
Ramon, let me jump into that meeting over there, and I'll take care of it and just try to get everybody over here.
Okay, correct. Mr. Eddie, we have here Edward Paez.
Edward Paez?
Yes, not part of the...
I'm not familiar.
Okay.
Not familiar with the name.
I'll ask you. Thank you.
Herman, that could be a committee member for the Veterans Committee.
Okay, so it's part of the public now for this meeting.
Yes, sir, but please verify.
Hey, Eddie Blanco, Eddie, Willie, Herman, Gina.
Yes, sir.
Madam Clerk, just I wanted to kind of lay some of the rules of the meeting tonight. So I'm not going to be chairing. This is not my meeting. This is economic development discussion. So I'm going to be in listening mode. I'm going to listen in. I'll chime in whenever I need to. But Chair Blanco is going to be chairing the meeting, and then Lorenzo is going to be chiming in very soon to talk about the how. This is a first sunshine meeting, right? I think we have in these kind of circumstances. We've had committee meetings under the sunshine, but actual sunshine meetings, he needs to set that the game plan, how that's going to the format and how that's going to work. And then Eddie Blanco, Chair Blanco is going to be chairing it, and I'm just going to be in listening mode, and I'll chime in whenever I need to. So I'll hand it over now to Chair Blanco and to Lorenzo. So they can set the tone and ensure that everybody's on the same page, and then go forward with any discussion that anybody wants to have. Chair Blanco, and then Lorenzo, if you could chime in.
Good evening, and thank you. I'd love to hear just the ground rules, just so I'm clear about the ground rules from Lorenzo, please.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this evening what we're having is a sunshine meeting. This is an informal meeting, which means that no motions are going to be heard, no decisions are going to be made. This is just an informal discussion. Because there are 2 or more members of the Economic Development Committees, and there's 2 or more members of the council, and the decisions, sorry, not the decisions, the conversation you have tonight may impact future decisions that your committee or the council will have. It has to be open to the sunshine, and the public is allowed to listen. The public does not need to participate per se. However, and I've had this conversation already with the chair and with the mayor, what we're going to do tonight in the format that we're going to proceed, since whatever the conversation tonight is germane to the chamber, is we'll allow the chair is going to set the tone. He's going to explain his reason for convening this meeting and his thoughts. Obviously, anybody from the Economic Development Committee, if you have something you want to say, there's like a little hand action, or Mr. Chair, if you'd like, you can just go one by one like the mayor does in most of the council meetings, so that way everybody gets to chime in and give their thoughts. Once everybody's given their thoughts, then I would suggest you open it up to the chamber and then go one by one by the folks who are in the chamber. What I would suggest is that at this time, roll calls are not done in these type of meetings. It's an informal meeting, so you don't need quorum. There's no decision that's going to be made. But since we may have members from the public and we have members from the chamber, we want to know who's here from the chamber. So we make sure we got everybody from the chamber and we allow them one by one to speak. And then my suggestion is, once everybody has spoken from the chamber, you go back, Mr. Chair, to your meeting. You have whatever conversations, last points you want to discuss, and then you wrap up your meeting. So, again, conversations between you, the council, and your members, Mr. Chair, then allow for the chamber to voice their opinions. You can go one by one, and then wrap up again with members of your committee. So the first thing I would do is, we've got the town clerk, and I know we have a deputy clerk also online. Maybe they can just take the names of everybody who's here from the chamber, and then that way you have a list and you know who's here, and then when you open up to the chamber, you can go one by one.
That would be great. Thank you. Madam Clerk, are you going to get clear about who? I can see some of the names that I recognize.
Okay.
I want to be sure to address everybody.
So let's start. Good evening, first of all.
Thank you. Good evening.
For everyone that is participating. Let's start with the Chamber of Commerce. If you can, one by one, I see some names, but I need help. So one by one, you can start stating your name. Ashley and I will start writing.
Sara Suarez.
Sara Suarez, okay, thank you.
I'm Janet Waterfield.
Janet Waterfield, thank you, welcome.
Fred Sandra.
Mr. Fred Sandra, thank you.
Magaly.
So I heard Magaly Rubio, and I think I also heard
Yuri Blanco.
Yuri Blanco. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gina.
Thank you, Gina. Okay. Who else we have from the chamber?
Marta Diaz.
Marta Diaz. Hi, Marta.
Hi.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think that's it for the chamber. Let's go to the Economic Development Committee. I see the chair, Mr. Blanco. I see Mr. Jorge Alvarez.
Yes. Thank you.
Welcome, all of you. I'm going to start reading the ones that I can see. Mr. Neil Robinson. Welcome, sir. I see Mr. John Tingle. Am I missing someone from the chamber? I had seen her earlier, Miss Portrondo, but I don't see her anymore.
I'm here, Gina. I'm probably on your second screen.
Oh, okay, hi, how are you and welcome.
Good, thanks.
Who else do we have from the Economic Development Committee that I have not named?
Magaly Rubio.
Yes, Magaly. Magaly's in both lists.
Yep, Rudy Blanco too.
Oh, and Rudy Blanco too, sir. Thank you both, okay. Who else?
Thank you, Gina.
Okay.
Vicente Rodriguez.
Vicente Rodriguez, welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Gina, if I may,
yes.
Miss Rubio, okay, I see Magaly Rubio.
Yes.
Oh, I see her. Perfect.
Yes, I have her in both Chamber and Economic Development Committee.
Okay.
Who from the Chamber I have not named. Okay. So now we're going to council members. We have Mayor Sid. I see Council Member Collazo. I see Councilwoman Ruano. I see Council Member Alvarez. Is Council Member Rodriguez, Jeffrey Rodriguez here? I don't see him, but he might be here.
Yeah, he's here.
Yes, I'm here, Gina.
Perfect. I don't see you, but I hear you, sir. Welcome. Council Member Dieguez? No, okay. Vice Mayor Rodriguez?
He had to log out, Gina. He'll log back in when he can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Ashley. Okay. And then my wonderful staff. I see Willie, Lorenzo, Mr. Manager. I have my personnel from Help Desk. I have Danny, Angel, Elizabeth, Ashley. Let me go one by one. I think I see Brandon, and I think I saw earlier from the public. Correct. Good evening, Gina. There you go. Very pretty, Clarissa. Who else do we have that I don't see? I want to need everyone. We need everyone.
Omar from Public Works.
Omar, thank you and welcome. Omar, I see Melissa. Well, I don't see, but I see. I know you're here. Who else?
Elizabeth.
Yes, no, I have Elizabeth, Omar, Melissa, Tony Lopez.
Brandon.
Brandon, yes, I named Brandon. Anyone that I have not named, please.
I'm here as well, Gina. This is Mike Mesa.
Mike Mesa, thank you.
And our commander, Avi Reese.
Chief, thank you for being with us.
You got it.
So I think someone that I have not heard, I see public. Is this Ms. Matos or someone else that I don't see the name? I just see public. So it has to be a participant, but I don't have the name.
Lynn is here, Gina.
Lynn is here, but I see.
I was invited to attend. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Ms. Matos. I see, however, another person from the public. I don't know if you see it, Herman.
Jerry Menendez.
Who?
Jerry Menendez.
Jerry Menendez. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, from public we have Jerry Menendez. Anyone else that I have not named?
I see on the public Edward Paez.
Mr. Edward Paez. Who else?
I think that's it.
Oh, I think that's it, right, Herman?
Yes. I don't see anyone.
We have a good group. Thank you all for participating. Let's have a good meeting.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Appreciate that.
Thank
very
you.
much.
My pleasure.
Okay, so first of all, I want to thank everybody for participating. I know we all have
our very busy schedules and family, and this is very important that we take the time to do this, and I really appreciate you guys doing this. To the council, of course, for being here, to the staff, to all the EDC members, and of course the chamber members. So thank you for being here. Before I get started, I'd like to hear from the public, any public comments. I'd like to have the opportunity to give them the floor, whoever would like to share on public comments.
I'd like to speak if I could, Herman.
I was going to go to the, go ahead. Yeah,
Mr. Chair, you're not a member of the public, but you can, Mr. Councilman, you're not a member of the public, but you can speak whenever you'd like.
Of course.
Just to let you know.
Okay, thank you. But I just wanted to chime in real quick and really thank Chairman Blanco and thank the chamber that's here. We're going through unprecedented times, and sometimes I think it's wise that we take a step back and rethink of how we're going to move forward in a post-COVID environment. I had the opportunity to speak not just to Chairman Blanco, but to several members of the chamber. And I think the key message that I've continued to hear is how can we collaborate? How can we count on each other more? How can we work together to support our small businesses? And I think that adds immense value to the community, regardless whether you're serving on a chair, whether you're a member of the chamber or you're somebody in the public. So I completely support this process, this dialogue, where we're trying to add value to the community and trying to make sure that we're doing the best that we can to serve our small business community. With that being said, I believe not just in our economic development committee, but also in our Chamber of Commerce, and both organizations have brought an immense value and play a key role in our community. I think the issue is really maximizing our resources in a very turbulent time. And I think one of the things that we're going to do through this process, while we can't necessarily come to a decision here today, the task that's before you is how can you make the biggest impact in your community with very limited resources? And, I commend both of you for sitting down at the table and putting this in front of each other and working hard to come up with a solution that ends up making the best impact in Miami Lakes. So thank you, Chairman, and thank you to the members of the Chamber and the Chamber of Commerce who are here. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman, you've been very supportive through this process, and I appreciate all the time that we've spent together talking about different options and just talking through it, and you assisting me and understanding, the whole perspective, and I appreciate that very much. Anybody else from the council would like to chime in on before we get started? Okay. Okay, so let me go ahead and, I'm sorry?
If I can, Eddie?
Yes, please.
Certainly not a member of the council, but I'd like to just take a quick moment. Thanks a million for inviting me. On about the 10th of April, I sent an email to the chamber and to yourself and to the town manager and a number of other people with the idea of starting a conversation about bringing the organizations together. When I first started Food and Wine, that started over a single conversation, and look where we are today. And nothing could make me happier than to be part of this really history-making night, because to see the organizations coming together with the intent of collaborating and working together at a level maybe that has never happened before. I'm so proud of our community. So many great people in all the organizations, and it's just, these are unprecedented times, and it's just a remarkable thing to come together and talk about what we can do and what great things are in our future, even during these very challenging times. So I applaud you, Eddie, for taking the reins of economic development and doing all that you've done, and Sarah for all that you're doing with the chamber and your group. It's the Miami Lakes Bar Association. I don't know if anybody from that group is on this call or in this meeting, but you know, you guys are the best of the very best, and I'm truly honored to be a member of the community, and I applaud you all. Thank you so much for inviting me, and looking forward to listening and hopefully watching the rest of your meeting. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak? I can chime in.
Before we start our meeting, hi Eddie.
Hello.
Good evening. This is Sarah. I wanted to good evening, mayors and councilin, and good evening, Eddie, and the member of the economic development. I think so. This is a great, idea to be here all tonight. And this is what I say. This is the time right now to work together for our business and our community. And the chamber, we've been doing, helping our business, and I know we have many good ideas to continue doing it. So we're here to have a conversation with you and with all of you, and we're gonna have Fred as our spokesperson for the chamber, but we are here all. Okay, thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak from the public? Okay, seeing none. So, I just want to make sure that we're clear that, I recognize that we're faced with some financial challenges, and but I really believe that we have a $10,000 historically supported the chamber with $10,000 annually. And I want to see us continue to do that. And the reason why I want to see us continue to do that is that the chamber has a long legacy in our town of doing good work in helping our businesses grow and supporting our businesses. So I want to see that happen. There's a legacy of a lot of leaders that have come through the chamber and have supported our town to this point. And I think that the EDC and the chamber have aligned goals. And we can accomplish, I think the chamber has the ability to move perhaps a little bit more nimbly and can execute things that may take the EDC a little longer to do so. We have alignment, and I think that there's a great opportunity to work together. We are certainly in unprecedented times, as Councilman Collazo said. With this COVID, we're up against a big challenge. We have been closed for almost 60 days now, and some of the businesses are really struggling to keep their head above water. So it's really important that we figure out a way to work well together and to make sure that we come up with possibilities that otherwise wouldn't have been possible. Really get our heads together, and we cannot afford to be in the status quo at this time. As you may know, at the last couple council, I think it was the last council meeting, the EDC brought over recommendations to the council to support economic growth, and one of the recommendations was a request for $5,000 so that we can run a campaign that would teach businesses how to be more online friendly, and it'll also do a campaign to do like a shop local campaign to really get businesses to residents to understand the value of shopping local. You may save $1, it might be a little faster, to go to shop on, more convenient to shop on Amazon, but doing that doesn't help the local economy and ultimately hits your bottom line. So as an individual, we have to teach the value of shopping local. The understandably, the council said, nicely, no, but find another way to work and get the money and make it happen. And that's part of why we're here and have this conversation, to see if by joining forces with the EDC and the Miami Lakes Chamber, we can join forces and create an opportunity that otherwise wouldn't have been possible. So I want to just basically cover 3 topics with the council. The main one is the budget, right? The money. And then discuss transparency and communication and my perspective on what that looks like. And then lastly, to discuss some opportunities where recommendations or ideas or opportunities of discussion. So, to the first point, budget. Again, I recommend that I'm obviously the EDC is going to make the final decision, and then not the final decision for recommendation, and then the council and the staff will make the final decision. But I feel confident that we can continue with the $10,000 allocation, even considering the fact that the expo may not be part of what can happen. We'd have to rethink the expo because November is right around the corner, and we might not be at a point where people are even comfortable coming out to large gatherings like that. The second piece is the transparency and communication, right? So I'd like to outline some basic proposed ideas about what transparency and communication look like, and then go into the discussion. So on budget, on May 14th, the EDC will be getting together and discussing the budget. And so if we're going to be making this recommendation of the $10,000 going to the chamber, you know, the council is the stewards of the money of the taxpayer. And so we look to the council to make the decisions that are in the best interest of how, when, and where we spend taxpayer dollars. And I think that that's money, potentially money well spent, if we can use it to grow business. And growing businesses will bring more economic strength to our neighborhood, increase our real estate values, and just help overall increase the economy. So I can see it being money well spent. And also an opportunity in this discussion will give the EDC members opportunity to discuss some of the things that has been brought up in other meetings. So I'd like to talk about that. So going to the transparency and communication, I'd like to see the reporting of the budgets and financials for the chamber. And the chamber is a private member-driven organization that has bylaws. And in their bylaws, it says that they'll maintain copies of their financial records and provide them to any member, which the town of Miami Lakes is a member, whenever they're asked for them. So I think it'd be prudent and fair that the EDC, or excuse me, the town, have access to see the financials as a member of the chamber. The other point to that is that the other point is that if the Miami Lakes Chamber is receiving public funds, it would be in the best interest of the public to know where those funds are being allocated to, how that money is serving the public. So that's important to consider. You know, and there is precedence for this, and it would be unfair if we didn't make this recommendation, this request of the chamber, because it has been requested of other private organizations. For example, the theater in Main Street, at one point, previous council member had made issue of the fact that the Miami Lakes Theater wasn't providing financials and shouldn't be receiving monies from the public. And the solution was that the theater opened their books to the town and has continued to receive those monies. And then as to the transparency and the communication, I believe that as a member of in good standing with the chamber, the town should be able to receive notices of all the minutes, copies of the current bylaws, copies of the meeting agendas, copies of the meeting minutes, and copies of the financials as requested. It's just good measure for a member to be able to have access to that. And then lastly, we can open it up to discussion. As far as some of the discussion thoughts that came to my mind is, other than the $10,000 that the EDC is giving to the chamber, what other things can the EDC do to support the chamber? I'd also like to put my money where my mouth is and offer to be a trustee member of the chamber. I'd also like to know, if we're not going to be doing the expo, what other stuff can the Miami Lakes Chamber do to put that money to work to grow our businesses? Perhaps reallocate some of that money to this, campaign of shop local. And then also, in looking at the bylaws, there's a section in the bylaws of the Miami Lakes Chamber that provide for setting up committees. So could we set up a committee like the COVID-19 committee, or maybe a membership committee, or a social media and branding committee, with extra? We have a lot of good talent in Miami Lakes, and maybe we can expand the leadership of the Miami Lakes Chamber to include, additional bright minds and additional people to work. 'Cause we all know that being part of these organizations really pulls our resources very quickly, and we all have businesses and families to take care of. So by spreading out some of that workload and bringing in more talent, we could maybe, get more innovative. Another thought point that I had was, if we're not going to be doing in-person luncheons, that's kind of a no-no now, right? What else can we be doing in terms of events and activities to bring value to the business owners? You know, those are just some of the talking points that I wanted to, you know, throw out there. But I'd like to turn it over now over to the council members that are on the call. I'll go just the way they're listed here to address any of the points that I brought up and questions or comments about that. Mr. Mayor Manny Sid. I don't know if he's okay. I'll go.
I'm listening.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
really just in listening mode more than anything. And then if I want to hear the dialogue, and then I'll chime in whenever need be. So.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Councilman Collazo, you chimed in earlier, but if after you've heard my opening comments, I'd love to hear from you.
No, I made my my public remarks, and similar to the mayor, I'm in listening mode and just want to hear the dialogue between the chamber and the committee.
Wonderful. Okay. Councilwoman Ruano.
I had a couple of questions. The financials that you're discussing with regards to, I mean, with regards to collaboration, I think it's a no-brainer. I think it only makes sense that that the EDC and the chamber work hand in hand because the goal is the same. Now, I had a couple of questions with regards to, there's a couple of things that I didn't understand. What is a trustee member of the chamber? Because I don't exactly know what that means.
I'll tell you what my understanding of the trustee member is, which is somebody who pays $1,500 to be the highest level of membership. Well, the second highest, because the town has the highest level of membership. Perhaps somebody from the council, the Miami Lakes Chamber could chime in and elaborate, but that's my understanding.
Okay, so the Economic Development Committee would be, I'm sorry, go ahead. No, I'm sorry, Councilwoman. I was referring to me personally, or through my company being offering to put my money where my mouth is and become a member at the chamber at that level. Oh, okay, no,
yeah.
I misunderstood. I thought it was that the Economic Development Committee would be a member, right? Okay,
the town is already a member of the chamber, right?
Correct. Okay, and then with regards to the financials and I guess the transparency part of the conversation, has the town ever requested in the past? Has the town ever requested financials from the chamber? I know that we've been members for a long time, but I don't know if we've ever done that before. Would anybody be able to from the chamber?
No. Hello.
Yes.
Marta, yes, you have the floor, of course.
Yes. We have never had to give financials to the town. The only requirement has been for the past many years is to show the budget where the money goes to and the benefits are received with the platinum membership, which, as you can see from the breakdown that we gave you, is a package worth $7,500. And because we are close partners in the growth of the business community, we give you for $3,000. So this is all new to us, and I would like to ask Rudy Blanco, who's our counsel, when it comes to that, because some of this information that we are asked for is internal information.
Absolutely.
The money is well used. We keep on our homepage a picture of all the councilmen, how happy they are with our expo, to show how united we are, and we are as one. So all of a sudden, to have this matter of transparency, which I've worked for the chamber for 14 years and no one has ever mentioned transparency to me before, it's quite, to be honest, a little shocking. I had a conversation with Chairman Blanco a few days ago. I took the initiative and I called him, and we were in agreement that the Intel program, which is $10,000 and 50% of your budget, was not something that, from my understanding, that he was keen on, and it was the reason why I resigned from the Economic Development Committee, because I thought it was totally unnecessary and it was a waste of money. So I'm really surprised that we're here tonight discussing the chamber when in fact there's another program that's worth the same money, and people don't want to say it, but they're not in agreement with.
Okay, well, no, thank you. I appreciate your comments, and the reason why I was asking is because the town does fund through different committees. We do fund a lot of things, and we have in the past requested paperwork, a paper trail of where the funding is going, but I think that we haven't done that in a little bit. And I just wanted to, like, I didn't want to open Pandora's box and then have to request this from every entity that we support, I know that we support our local schools, and that we would have to, I think that we would have to do this across the board with all committees and with all organizations that we somewhat support, including some nonprofits that we support as well. So I just want to make sure that whatever we're discussing today happens across the board and isn't just reflective of the chamber, because I know that by no means is anyone trying to implicate the chamber in anything. So I just want to, that was my question regarding that, and I want to continue to hear the discussion, but I appreciate the information. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Council, I'm sorry, I'm going back to my list here. Councilman Alvarez.
I have a question just for Chairman Blanco. So what is the reasoning or the spirit behind the request of everything from the chamber that you mentioned? Is there a reasoning behind it? And if there is, what is it that you're looking? What is it that the EDC and that you, Chairman, are seeking to accomplish with what you're requesting?
The purpose of asking for that is that it's my understanding that the bylaws of the organization provide for that. So as a member of the organization, I think it'd be prudent to ask for that information.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Jeff Rodriguez.
Thank you, Chairman. First, I just want to say thank you to all the EDC members and the chamber members that are here with us tonight. And I think what Chairman Blanco and what some of my colleagues have mentioned already is that collaboration between the EDC and the chamber is only going to strengthen our community, right? I think these are two organizations that have a similar goal, and whatever we can do to focus and hone both resources towards improving the business community in Miami Lakes is going to definitely improve the quality of life for everyone. So I think this is a great meeting. I'm here to listen to the discussion between the two organizations. I think there's a lot of good points that need to be addressed. We also need to appreciate that these are, difficult times and unprecedented times. So I think this is something that we may not otherwise have been looking at if it wasn't for the situation that the town finds itself in right now, not only because of COVID, but financially, right? So thank you again for everyone's participation, and I'm looking forward to a very interesting dialogue.
Thank you, Councilman. Would any other council? I think we've covered everybody. Did I miss anybody? Did Councilman Vice Mayor Rodriguez come back on? No. Okay. To anybody on the EDC that would like to chime in, any perspective they'd like to add to the dialogue about
Chairman, I have a question.
Vicente?
The you mentioned $10,000 contribution. Is that going to be coming out of the Economic Development Committee budget?
It's correct. Well, that's ultimately up to the EDC and to the council. But last year, it was that amount. It was $3,000 towards our membership, and $7,000 that went towards the expo.
Okay, thank you.
That was, I heard, George Alvarez, would you like to chime in?
Good evening. Now, just listening and trying to see what the best goal is for our town, and to make sure that we can do whatever possible, depending on what's coming up in the next, let's say, towards year end. If a lot of companies don't make it and we need to attract new businesses to the town, I want to make sure that both work together and there's funds available for the best resources to do that. And that's attracting good businesses from out of the town, most probably, or new ones. So listening and, trying to make the best decision for everybody.
Wonderful. Okay. Neil Robinson.
We are expected to accomplish this evening as we discuss I believe the focus is on the chamber and the amount of money that traditionally that the town makes available to the chamber. For as long as I've been here in the town, I believe it's always been close to $10,000 a year. $3,000 usually goes for, I think, our membership, so that EDC members as well as any new business can go to a luncheon. Is it once a month or whatever it is? Because I think they make available one table to the town each month. Is that correct, Marta?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay,
that is correct.
Okay, so then the other amount of money is used for, if I understood correctly, for the expo, which is usually held in December, I believe is that correct?
November.
November, okay, I beg your pardon. So during that period of time, you have how many businesses that usually come to your expo?
Fred, do you want to take that? Okay, an average of 500 businesses go through. They come in waves because of the parking situation. There's not enough parking. So throughout the 3 hours that it's open, we have an average of 500 businesses. And it's something that businesses look forward to. And we get people not only from Miami Lakes, but we get people from Hialeah, from Miami Beach, from Coral Gables. So because we advertise it to be a special event for businesses.
Okay, the other question I'd like to ask is, what is your membership role? How many members do you have? And I think you have, 3 different levels? You've got trustees, platinum, gold, and something else. Is that right?
Yes, we have about 200 businesses as members, and we have different levels. We have a special rate for nonprofit, which is the lowest rate, and then we have the next one is a business membership. The following is a corporate membership, and then after that is a trustee membership. And based on the level, there's more benefits, of course.
Okay. All right. So, if I understand, Mr. Chair, that your interest is to determine how much you are asking this body this evening to discuss the Chamber's bylaws, and in the, if I understood correctly, you want to know about the transparency of what their income is, what their, I guess their expenses are. Is that what you're looking at? And I would assume you get their audit report. Is that what you're looking for, their audit report as well?
I wouldn't. I don't know that I'd go as far as an audit report. I mean, here's the objective here is that, and I think Councilman Ruano made a point, which was that we do contribute to other organizations, and we don't want to open a Pandora's box where everywhere we're contributing, we're asking everybody for financials. That's not the intention, right? But the difference here is that we're members of this organization, right? The town is a member of the organization, and because we're a member of the organization, by the bylaws of the organization, we're entitled to receive the financials, at least the last copy of the bylaws that I received. So, there it outlines that a member of the organization is entitled to receive the financials upon request. And as a member of an organization, you're also entitled to receive the minutes and those things. So that was the basis of my intent to get there. The EDC represents a significant, contribution to this organization. And if we're going to say, okay, if me personally, I'm a financial conservative, and to Marta's point, I agree that there's other parts of the budget that I'm not happy with in terms of how we can spend it. I think the $10,000 here at the EDC, at the Miami Lakes Chamber would be a good spend if we can see where the money's going, if we can, because as a steward to the public's money, if a member said, well, where's the money going? If a taxpaying citizen said, hey, where's that money going? We really don't have any way of knowing where that money's going. So I think it's from two angles. I think it's prudent. One is we're a member, and two, we're giving public funds. And I think it just makes sense to do that. I'm surprised that it's even, frankly, I'm surprised it's even an issue. I didn't think it would be an issue. I'm surprised also that it hasn't been brought up in the past.
This is Romy. Can I chime in for a minute?
Are you? Oh, yeah, of course. You have the floor, Romy.
Thank you. So I'll go off of that vein that you just opened up there. So I believe in this meeting, I'm the most junior member of the EDC, and I have to agree with Eddie. I think what we're doing is a healthy exercise that's done in any business, corporate setting, and most definitely should be done in what's considered a public service organization, where we're taking taxpayer monies and allocating them to essentially a private institution. People are going to want to know where that money's going, and I myself, as a taxpayer of the town of Miami Lakes, I want to know where my money's going as well. So I definitely heard Martha's sentiments, and speaking on the history of how well these funds are used. And I'm not questioning that, as I don't think anybody in this meeting is questioning that. But I think as stewards of the tax monies paid by the residents of the town of Miami Lakes, it's our due diligence to review the spend every so often. And, when we were asked to make recommendations for how the funds of the EDC should be allocated for the next fiscal year, I had questions myself. You see a trend. Okay, there's normally X amount of money going to this event. We have to ask the question. We'd be doing an injustice to the taxpayers if we don't, in asking, can this event happen? Is the same amount of money going to be used? How was it used in past years? And should we make a sound judgment that it's going to be used in the same manner this coming fiscal?
Okay. Okay, thank you. John? I'm just going down the list as I saw it. John Tingle?
Hey, Eddie, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, fine, thanks. I think we should always sort of step back, say what's going to happen in a few months. Hopefully we'll have the 20,000 available for our committee. historically, we've had higher amounts, and we broke out those higher amounts in individual items, okay? And we didn't really go into every one item and break that down to costs. I think what's happening is we've gone down from, say, 30 or 28 to 22, and now we're at 20. So the 10,000 stands out. I think that's what perhaps you're getting at. And if the group agrees we should do that, fine. If they don't, that's where it's a stop. I think we have enough information from the past to know where the 7,000 is going and the 3,000. So I think that should remain. Also, if I could just put one more comment in, we asked for the 5,000 from the council. The council initially said no. I think we should try and keep that subject going. We're going to need that 5,000 or anything like it to try and help out these small businesses through better communication. So maybe we can push that at our next meeting again. And since we have council people on this Zoom, maybe they would sort of rethink that. They might have their own information, their own resources available to help out the town in general. But from our viewpoint, maybe that 5,000 should be reconsidered. So I'm all for that if we can get that in. That's my comments basically, so let's go ahead forward.
Thank you. Magaly Rubio. Magaly Rubio. Maybe she can't hear me. Let's move over to Rudy Blanco, and we'll get back to Magaly. Rudy Blanco.
Absolutely. Hi, Eddie. How are you?
Very well, Rudy.
Sure. Echoing the sentiments of the chairwoman and everything else, and yourself also. I think I'm kind of new to the chamber itself, but from my understanding, no requests have been made ever of the chamber, and it's very simple. There's been no need for it. There's just been no need for it. At this time, the chamber does its budgets, does its minutes, does what it has to do, and it's always complied, with its bylaws and everything else. I think always, I'm always for transparency too and so forth, but I echo the sentiments of Martha at the same time too, that there hasn't been a need. There hasn't been a need for the chamber. The chamber has always done what it's supposed to do. It's followed its bylaws. It's complied, and it's met its budgets. It's done what it has, and it's allocated the funds exactly where they got to go, and so forth. But you're right. I think there is a lot of ideas that we could circulate together as a chamber and as the council, and with the EDC. And you're right. I think businesses are in dire straits right now, and I don't. I see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I think every day it's like more difficult for one reason or another, and it's because it's a complicated matter. We're talking about safety and we're talking about lives, but we're talking about incomes too, which it's a vicious circle that we're going through right now. And I think talking with each other, we need to help our businesses. There's no doubt. That's why we're both here. That's why we have a chamber, and that's why we have the Economic Development Committee.
Thank you.
Those are my thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Going back to Magaly Rubio, are you here? Can you hear me, Magaly Rubio? Okay. Vicente, you had asked a question earlier, but I don't know if you wanted to add anything or make any other comments. You just no.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so then going to the chamber, Ms. Sarah Suarez, I'd love to hear your perspective.
I think Sarah already spoke. I'd like to ask her.
Okay, yes, I want to.
Wonderful. Fred, go ahead.
Yes.
Well, good evening, everybody, and good evening, Eddie, and
good evening,
and all the members of the council, and the manager, and the town clerk, and Claricela, and everybody else. And for many years, we have been established here in Miami Lakes, our business for the last almost 11 years. I have been a resident of Miami Lakes for the past 36 years. I love this town. I eat here. I play here. I have fun and and enjoy many things. All the blessings that we have in our town. One thing that I have always seen, and this is the first time that that we have a situation like this. I have never seen any kind of disagreements or differences between the Business Development Committee and the Chamber of Commerce of Miami Lakes. I think that both have always worked together in many events that we have co-sponsored mutually, and the Chamber of Commerce has paid money to contribute to such events. And I'm open, and I think every board member of the chamber will be open to continue working together with the Economic Development Committee, and because we both have the same goal that is to make sure that our businesses prosper, and even though in this situation that we're living in right now, that we're not sure what's going to happen. We're not sure how many businesses are going to remain open, for the next 2 months or 3 months. So it may be a complete change, and we just need to reinvent ourselves. That's I think that would be a good way of putting it. But the chamber has been in existence for over 19 years. I think 19 years, the same amount of time that that this has been a town. And there's done many great things, But to be specific, and I mean, we're talking here about the contribution that the EDC has always, given the chamber specifically for the Business Expo, and also for the town membership. I'm going to tell you so that everybody knows, where I'm going to read it out to you guys. First of all, a copy of the budget for the expo was sent either 3 days ago or a week ago to the EDC, and it was sent to the town as well, where it spells out all the expenses and the revenue, which I believe this is a financial statement, if my math doesn't fail me, for the Business Expo. Whatever money comes in, the money goes right out, and the chamber doesn't keep anything. Everything stays right there. The Business Expo has attracted, as Martha alluded not too long ago, over 500 people every time, and each year. I've been participating in the Business Expo for the last 10 years, and every year has been better and better. We have increased our attendance. Over 55 businesses participate in the expo of their business within the event, and then we've always enjoyed our visitors, which probably exceeds 500, because nobody stays the whole 3 hours or 4 hours. People come and go, and by the time you finish your count, this pretty much over 500. So it's a very good expose of our town and the different businesses that we have in our town, and the services that they have to offer and what have you. So out of the $10,000, to be specific, and we also send this to the EDC, I believe, and to the town. Only $7,000.
And just to be clear, I want to just chime in to be clear. We did receive a copy. I did receive a copy.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so everybody has a copy there. Out of the $10,000, okay, only $7,000 goes to the expo. The other 3,000 is the town, okay? And the town gets a value of $7,500 for that $3,000. I want to make sure that everybody understands that. For the $3,000 out of the $10,000 that are allocated from the EDC goes to many benefits for the town. For example, you have top listing in the website homepage. You have the town logo placement in the directory cover. You have top listing on the annual directory as a trustee and a corporate in the corporate page. Your email and up to 12 representatives added to the Miami Lakes Chamber of Commerce update list. 3 email blasts a year complimentary to promote businesses and organizations. 3. VIP sitting in the monthly networking luncheon, which again, we don't know when the next one is going to be, or if we are going to ever have one for the rest of the year. I'm not sure. Spotlight on the for the organization at one of our membership luncheons. And in addition, the town of Miami Lakes receives from the chamber a 2-page ad, which I know what it costs because I pay for mine, okay? And mine is just 1 page, but I pay for mine. The 2-page ad directory, which is a $2,000 value. And then you have a reserved table for 10 people, okay? At every chamber function, which is roughly about $2,500 value. So for $3,000, the town gets $7,500. The other $7,000 goes, as we stated, on the budget for the business expo. Now, I agree that the future is unforeseen. We really don't know what what's going to be. We hope, and pray that by November we may be able to have something similar to an expo. But I am not opposed in having dialogue with the EDC as to. I think Eddie, you mentioned something before. I can't remember exactly what you said, but something that we could do. Maybe to help out is one of the projects that you had mentioned before, to help out the business. But I'll tell you one thing, one initiative that we took at the chamber was to, and Martha's been, busy pretty much every day with this type of things. We have probably sent out over 100 notifications via email blast through the town, presenting the different businesses in our area to make sure that our residents know exactly, what Joe, Papita Fritas does, and the other one, what it sells, and if they deliver to the home, and whatever it is, to represent their services in this trying time that we're living in right now. We have sent over 100 at least. If I may be even short, maybe more than 100. So to finish, because I don't want to take all the time, but we love to work together. We would love to have different things together. We're not going to be dictated to do anything because this is a nonprofit organization, and I think that we have provided exactly what everybody wanted, which is the budget, the financial statement, if you will, for the Business Expo, and the benefits that the town receives in exchange for the $3,000 as part of the $10,000 allotment that we get from the EDC. So again, our relationship has always been very harmonious. I believe that we could make it and continue to be harmonious for many more years to come, and I just want to leave it at that. Thank you for the opportunity. I think that we can make some good things together. We have, mutual friends that serve in the EDC and people that serve in the Chamber of Commerce. And when, we're all volunteers, nobody here gets paid for anything. To the contrary, look, I've been working today since 6:30 this morning, and I'm here with you guys right now. I'm sure that some of you have done, similar, put in a hard day's work today, and I'm not a spring chicken, that's for sure, and I'm still at it. So, but again, I'm sure that we can find ways to, to work together. But there are things that we are going to say yes, and there are things that we're going to say no, because there is no need for certain requests or petitions that Eddie, you may want, or maybe somebody else from the board may want. I think we have provided what everybody asked for, and that should be satisfactory to all. Whether we get the money or we don't get the money, that is fine. We will find a way if that's the case. But hopefully we will, and we will continue with the same type of relationship that we have enjoyed for 19 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Appreciate your comments. I have a lot of respect for you as a business leader and a community leader, so I thank you for your comments. Do we have any other comments from the council? I heard Marta say, Fred, that you were speaking on behalf of the Miami Lakes Chamber, but I also would like to, okay, so I'd also like to, but if anybody else from the chamber would like to chime in, you're also welcome to. It's up,
yes,
up to you.
me?
Yes, of course.
Oh, Magaly,
yes.
yes, I called your name earlier. But
Sorry that I got offline, something happened and I need to come back to the meeting.
Wonderful, so please.
Okay, there isn't that much more that I need to add, because I think Fred did a wonderful explanation of everything. I do want to say that I will be a 50-year resident of Miami Lakes this year. I have been attended when Miami Lakes wasn't even incorporated. Our meetings were the Miami Lakes Business Association. We changed the name in order to comply with the times that we incorporated. We have always had a very respectful, mutually respectful and harmonious relationship with the town. We've always respected everybody, and I think we have earned the respect. I served as your president for a few years, and I am proud to say that I try to do the best that I could do to have the chamber be on the right place where it needs to be, and to put it in front of every business that I go visit. I take my cards. We also comply with our guidelines in order to bring new members. I don't know what else we can do. We have done it very professionally, very respectfully, and I think we have earned the respect by this time. So it's nothing else that I need to add, because Fred, everybody else already spoken, and that's it.
Thank you, Magaly. Anybody else wishing to, I just kind of want to just make sure that everybody had an opportunity to speak, whether you're in the public, EDC, the town manager, anybody who's here that would like to speak and comment. I'd like to leave the floor open.
Well, I'd like to say something.
Okay, Marta, you have the floor.
Okay, I second what Fred and Magaly and Sarah have said. We're very proud of the work we do. We have, as Fred mentioned, we have dedicated ourselves during this special time that we're going through to promote the businesses that offer services for the other members that are appropriate at this time. And any member that has any service to offer or any product, we make a point to let everybody know about it. We work quietly, but we work constantly. and for the good of the business community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from wishing to speak from the EDC, the Miami Lakes Chamber, from the public, or any of the council members, of course?
I wonder if I could say a few words.
Sure. State your name, and because I don't see, all I see is public.
Yeah, I don't have my camera's not working apparently.
Okay.
My name is Dennis Lisniak. I'm the treasurer and playhouse manager for the Main Street Players on Main Street. We're the professional theater that's right across from the old sports shop next to Black and next to Miami Lakes Jewelers.
Yeah.
Main Street Players has been in business since, I believe this is our 46th year as a theater. We have been very successful over the last several years. We turned professionally as a professional theater. We were a community theater for about 41 years, and we turned into a professional theater about 4 years ago. We're very proud of the work that we do in our theater, not just in the performances, but in the children's camp we do. We rent the theater out to local schools and other organizations. This year, like everyone, we're going to have a hard time making it to year 47. We normally do 5 professional plays a year. We do 2 children's theater camp in the summer. We also do a teenage online acting class, and then we entertain the Christmas reading from the town in December. This year so far, we have lost one of our rentals, Miami Lakes Charter, Matter Lakes Charter canceled their event. We've canceled one of our shows, and I think, as everybody knows, theaters are probably the last thing that people are going to attend, whether it's a movie theater or a professional stage show. We have, as I said, we've canceled one of our plays. We have 3 other plays either going to be canceled or postponed, and we hope that if things get a little better, perhaps we can put our first play on next February, but that's very iffy. So it doesn't look like we'll have anybody in our theater for the rest of this year. Our theater caters to a real broad range of ages, not like some theaters cater to more seniors, but our theater caters to age groups all across the board. But we do have a lot of seniors, and fortunately, a lot of those seniors are donors to our theater as well. So we're going to lose those this year. As far as our benefit to Miami Lakes, as I said, we've been here for 46 years. The theater was founded in an old milking barn called the Barn, and we've now been on Main Street in our location since 2003. We're probably the best kept secret in Miami Lakes. So we look like we're going to have a little trouble getting through the rest of the year and into next year. A lot of people who come to our theater, they use the various restaurants. We recommend restaurants all the time for people who come to our theater, especially on Sunday. We do matinees at 2 o'clock, so people have time after the matinees to go out and have an evening dinner. Or many of them come when we have our 8 o'clock shows. They'll come for an early. We are still here. The lights may be off, but we're hoping to get back into business as soon as possible. And we've been looking for help with Miami-Dade Department of Cultural Affairs, also with the local South Florida Theater League, which is the main group that monitors all of the theaters in South Florida. We're looking for help from them as well. So if there's any way that the council can help us out, if they are thinking about helping local businesses, we certainly frequent attendees at the theater. They come to see our plays, and I think they can tell you a little bit more about the kind of things that we do. So if anybody has any questions or they need to contact me, my number is 786-395-7296. And thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you for participating. Anybody else would like to speak from the comment, public comments, or council? Anybody else? Okay, I'd like to just say that I apologize if anybody from the Miami Lakes Chamber is taken back by my request. It's not intended to do that at all. We're really, I'm not questioning the integrity or the history of the Miami Lakes Chamber. I'm a believer in the Miami Lakes Chamber. I've been to many of the events. I was a member for a while. I've been a business leader in the town for a long time. So I'm a big fan of the Chamber. I've known Magaly Rubio since I started in my real estate career. I met Fred, and I'm familiar with Fred for a while, and I respect him as a business leader. So Sarah, I've spoken to many occasions. So all of were very competent, and Marta as well. All very competent people leading this organization. That's not my concern. My concern is that we have a $10,000 budget, $7,000 of which is going to an expo, which we don't even know is going to take place. And I can't, in good faith, say, hey, you know, I think it's a good idea to give an organization $7,000, which may not use it for the expo. And if which case, what is it going to be used for? And then to the public, speak to that in a way that's you know, fair. I think I think it's prudent that we say, okay, if we're going to give $7,000 to an event that may not even happen, okay, then let's look at where the money's going and how we can help support that. If it is of the belief of the council, ultimately who's going to have the decision, and the EDC, that we don't need to see the financials, that's fine. But I'm not going to change my position on that. I think it's not necessary. But if we're going to ask that of, for example, the theater, who just spoke, who's been bringing value to our town for many years, who's a recipient of town funds, who has opened up their books to the town, I think it's fair that we ask the same of the Miami Lakes Chamber. So if I apologize if anybody has taken personal offense to it, it's certainly not what my intention was. My intention is to be a good steward. I'm a financially fiscal person, and I think it's just good business to be books open. So that may, you know, obviously there's some differing opinions on that, and I don't want to harp on the item. Having said all that, I'd like to move to discussion around the item of, so I want to be clear, just as I'll ask, I guess I'll direct this question to Fred. Fred, you're saying that you're not comfortable as opening up the books and as I outlined there, opening up the books, providing the financials and minutes and agenda and all that good stuff. You're not open to that, doing that?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not open to that. I don't think it's necessary.
Understood.
I think that the $7,000, I think I explained in detail where it would go. Now, whether the expo is going to take place in November, we don't know. Nobody knows. But I can guarantee you that if within the fiscal year, because the fiscal year won't end until June of next year.
I believe it's August, but yeah, yes, it'll go into next year.
Yeah, or August or whatever. If it cannot be done, if it cannot be carried out in November, we have also, you know, we have talked about maybe doing it in February or doing it in March. You know, so you know, if we can at all carry it out, we will carry it out.
Wonderful.
You know, if it cannot be carried out, we'll give you the money back. That's not a problem. We don't want to keep the money.
Okay. That's a concession. I understand that might work, or that might be a prudent way of handling that.
And also, Eddie, with that, you know, with that $7,000, we could together maybe do something that you know, like I think you mentioned something before there.
Sure.
That we could do. Maybe we could, you know, do something together with that money.
I understand.
We don't, you know, I mean, we don't want to have the money in you know, in our bank account if it's not necessary. We will, you know, do whatever it takes to do it. But at least to be open if it's going to take place, if the expo is going to happen, whether it happens in November, hopefully, God willing, it will be done. But if not, we can do it in February, or we can do it in March. We'll do it before the end of the fiscal year.
Wonderful. I just want to be clear. I just want to be clear that I'm, you know, I feel like I'm the face of the EDC, and for me, I wouldn't want to be. I personally wouldn't. I have a hard time with being a business partner without having and sharing money, but not seeing where the money's going. That's why that was the premise.
But we show you where the money goes, where the $7,000 goes. We send you the budget. You got the budget.
Okay.
That's all you need to see.
Right.
There's nothing else.
Understood.
This is Sarah, and one of the things that I wanted to add on Martha, Magaly, I've been saying, and Freddie, we can work together, and we've been getting a lot of good ideas. One of the ideas, we can do HR webinar, we can do job fair webinar. You know, this is something that the community, the business community, is needed right now. So we have a lot of things that we can do together. This is something that we've been talking about.
Right, for sure.
At the chamber to do. Yeah.
Good. Now, I think we're clear. I not to harp on that conversation any longer. I think we should move to just discussing some of the ideas that might be, you know, if anybody has ideas, I'd like to chime in. I brought up a good amount of those at the beginning of the meeting, but I don't want to necessarily restate any of those. I'd like to open the conversation to, if we're not going to have the expo, what does the chamber envision in lieu of the monthly meetings? What does the chamber envision? How can the EDC support the chamber in, you know, in addition to the $10,000? So those are some of the question points I have.
Okay, may I speak?
Sure.
Okay, I had a conversation with Shula's Hotel, and they are working on guidelines with the, you know, with the state and the county to have future lunches, so that, you know, it will change. It will not be the same distance between one person and the other, and so forth. But they are working on it, and they will let me know as soon as they have the final decision how that's going to work out. But they are, it seems like they're close to coming up with really good ideas, alternatives. What they'll do is they'll open the entire ballroom so that there are more spaces between people. But that's something that's coming up. And hopefully we are planning to have a June luncheon, and the mayor will be the guest speaker. Now, as far as the expo, I believe that it will happen. There will be adjustments made to it, but it's going to happen. That's just from past experience and from just being really present with the situation that we're going through, and I do believe that's going to happen. So I'm optimistic about it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else would like to chime in on ideas about how we can grow this? Yeah.
Daddy, I just want to just chime in just real quick, because I heard Dennis Lisniak from the theater speak. Look, I think if we're talking about economic development for the chamber, for the committee, I mean, how I would really, really, really hate to lose that theater that is a gem in our community. To be honest with you, I would, they're a gem. They bring a lot of what's called earned media. The amount of positive articles in the Herald all over South Florida that they bring to our town, it's amazing. And everybody they bring there eats there. So while we're on the subject, and it's germane to the discussion because it's economic development, especially in the center core of our town, I just want to have a greater discussion around that because I think he just brought up a major, and I would really hate to lose the theater, and I think they're at risk. I think that we already saw was that our main theater, the movie theater, their parent company, filed for Chapter 11. It's a big problem, right? So we were asking them months ago to fix it up, and then now they're filing for Chapter 11. Obviously, a reorganization. We'll see how they come out of that, but who knows when they'll reopen up. But the smaller theater, Dennis's, that doesn't have what's called national credit, behind them, that the other theater has. I'd love to just delve into that a little bit, just talk about, because it would hurt me and I think our entire community to lose Dennis and that entire theater that is a gem in our community. So that's something that really caught my attention when he said, look, we're at the brink. I just want to see what everybody's thoughts are on that, or what ideas are there that we can help them, because I think that's a business. We got all the business leaders here in our community, and I don't know, would love to see expand upon that discussion. Just throwing it out there.
Thank you. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how we could support them as well, and maybe bring them into the dialogue of how we can grow our businesses here in the town.
Well, this will be a question. This will be a question of survival, not to grow. I don't think they can grow more than what they have grown, but I think it's a question of survival. I echo Mayor Seeds. I think that it's worthwhile. Brainstorm a little bit about that, because I would really hate to see them close the doors too. So.
This is Dennis once again. If I could just add one more thing that I didn't add before. We bring a little over 3,000 people into our theater every year. I mean, we're a small theater, but we're known all through South Florida. And out of that 3,000 audience members, almost 85% or more are from outside of Miami Lakes. And I've often heard people talk about our theater, how lovely it is, but they also talk about how they think Miami Lakes is a lovely place. They've never been here before, and they're very surprised on the beauty of it, especially on Main Street. So that's one of the benefits of our theater, is that we're introducing Miami Lakes, not just our theater, but Miami Lakes to a lot of South Florida.
That's awesome, Dennis. Any other ideas about what we can do in terms of other business ideas, in terms of networking events, or like Sarah brought up a good point about doing online trainings or online events where we can bring speakers and invite the members and I know that Willie and Claricel's team have been doing an exceptional job of getting out information to the businesses in the town, and so I'd love to see maybe we can do more of that, or how we can collaborate.
Yeah, that would be great. Yes, that's some of the idea that we have. That would be great. Have job fair through the webinars. It is many things that we can do to help, to educate, to give some seminar to the business community. So right now.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe we can consult with the board and promote the webinars that the town is having for the businesses, so they can participate as well. So that would be a collaboration between the town and the chamber.
Mm-hmm. That'd be wonderful.
We can blast it and say the town is having a webinar, and if you're interested, and give them instructions. So that can be something very useful to the businesses, if the board agrees.
Understood. Another thing I thought about was there's a possibility of perhaps creating just a suggestion. You guys, as Fred mentioned, you guys are your own entity, and I'm just making a suggestion, brainstorming ideas. But one of the ideas was maybe create a committee of additional leaders that are part of the Miami Lakes Chamber, who could meet more regularly, who could meet more privately, because when the EDC has to meet, it has to be done public. So we can't even call each other and talk about ideas, really. So maybe adding some good business leaders into like a committee, a special committee, a COVID committee, a COVID task force, or maybe like a social branding and awareness campaign committee. I don't know, just an idea. Would you think the chamber might be open to doing something like that? And then that could be something that we could allocate funds to?
I don't see any reason why we couldn't have an ad hoc committee to or COVID-19 meeting to bring new ideas to see how we can help our local business and how to maybe even try to save some, from this economic situation that we have.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something that we could openly talk about. That's for sure.
Wonderful. Any other ideas? Anybody else want to add up chime in some ideas, suggestions?
Mr. Chair, this is Jerry.
Go ahead.
So thank you so much, Mr. Chair. And I've been hearing a lot of great dialogue, and I'm really excited of getting Miami Lakes back on their feet again and getting our businesses open. One thing I've been a long time standing member TD Bank, and I'm also part of the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce, and we just had our first virtual trustee luncheon yesterday, and it turned out great. We had some great speakers, so in case we cannot meet in June, maybe it'll be a great idea to maybe have a virtual lunch, and I'll be definitely open if they want to hear my ideas in regards to that. So I'm willing to serve in any capacity that I possibly can.
You're very welcome. Thanks for the idea. I think that's great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry. We are hoping to have our first luncheon in June. So hopefully your idea is wonderful and we appreciate it, but we're keeping our fingers crossed because it would be so great to have a June luncheon and to have the mayor open for a new stage, for the businesses of Miami Lakes.
But in case we can, then we can certainly contemplate that virtual luncheon.
Right, exactly. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, anybody else from the EDC or Miami Lakes Chamber have any other ideas or suggestions? What about some other possibilities around what the expo could look like if we're not going to do an expo? Because if we push the expo into, obviously an option is pushing the expo into like June, but then that'll be really close to the November one that normally happens. It's kind of like what will happen with that. Maybe if there's some possibilities of creating an expo. Again, these would be great things for a special committee task force in my chamber to tackle. And that would be great. And maybe even some of the EDC, not some of, but maybe we can appoint an EDC member to that to bring fresh ideas, or you can recruit a great leader like Jerry or some other great Miami Lakes business person to chair that.
Mr. Blanco, I have an idea.
Go ahead.
It's Vicente. Yeah. Since I remember in one of our meetings, we mentioned that the expo had been done outdoors at one point. So to solve the situation that you're mentioning, if the expo was to be moved to a different date, they could do one outdoors and one back into the usually Shula's place. And that way, even though they'll be closer together, they will not be kind of the same event. But personally, I participate in the last 3 expos, and that is an event that really works for the local businesses. And if it could be just modified, the idea, we could still should have it if it's possible this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, I think that we had some good discussion. We definitely were able to tackle the items, and the idea of bringing this in a public forum was to allow for us to have open dialogue and to make it available to the public, so that, you know, the conversation regarding the public funds and how those things are being managed and how these decisions are being made is available. I'd like to, before closing out, give any of the council members an opportunity to chime in, share their perspectives as we points of perspective after being part of this meeting. And I thank you again for all your time. Councilman Collazo.
Thank you, Chairman Blanco. I'm happy, first of all, at least from some of the dialogue that I've heard here today, and some of the ideas that are being tossed around. In particular, the working group, or the ad hoc committee that you guys are going to spearhead together between the EDC and the chamber to find out what new ideas can be brought together to really get us through this transition period. I think it's important that we continue to look forward, right? And again, what we are currently going in this transition is a new normal. And you keep on hearing that word, new normal, most of our businesses need to learn to adapt. And I think that's really what we're talking about here. How can we help these businesses readapt, retool to continue to survive, whether it's a theater, whether it's a beauty salon, whether it's a restaurant, right? What are we going to look like, not just tomorrow, but a few years down the road? So as you guys were discussing these ideas, I think it's great having a meeting of the minds and really reemphasizing some of the points that I made. Our community is stronger when both of these organizations are working lockstep for the betterment of our small business community. And I think today was the first step in that direction. So I commend both of the organizations. With respect to some of the ideas, and I was tooling around with some of the stuff online, and some of the ideas that I found were kind of creative, innovative, and something that can help and can give you some food for thought as you guys convene. I saw some online business survival kits, like for small businesses. So, you know, giving online resources to small businesses, again, working through this transition period. How can we be there to support them? And really putting those all in a centralized location, I think, is something that the chamber can do relatively quickly with the support of the EDC and offer a service not just to their members, but to the entire community. So I think those are food for thought, so to speak, as you guys start retooling the virtual environment, you know, making more resources available online. So as we continue to go through this COVID era, we continue to support the small business community. But I commend both groups for sitting down, having an open dialogue, I guess putting everything out on the table. But really what came out of this to me is a step in the right direction, which is a continued dialogue on how you guys can continue to work together to help our small business community. So thank you both.
Thank you. Councilwoman Ruano.
Thank you, Chairman Blanco. This was a great discussion. I'm overwhelmed with all of the ideas and all of the conversations that have happened here this evening. I think that that we need to take it one step at a time. I think that you shouldn't put so much pressure on yourselves. This is a situation that businesses find themselves in that has nothing to do with lack of leadership, with the Economic Development Committee not doing enough, or the chamber not doing enough. These are unprecedented times, and businesses are resilient. They will find a way. They will figure it out. I think that what we should concentrate on now more than anything, both the EDC and the chamber and the council, is getting our businesses up and running again. The reason that they're dying is because they are closed. So I think education on COVID, I think that there's a lot of myths that need to be dispelled. I think accurate reporting of numbers, to try to get the powers that be to allow us to be up and running again, and to try to establish guidelines that aren't going to suffocate our businesses. If we do not work on that, then none of these plans will come to fruition, because we can have workshops, luncheons, meetings, expos. None of that will work for closed businesses, or for businesses that can now only function at 25% capacity, or for businesses that now have, much more overhead costs because this is the new normal. So I think that should be where our focus is for both of your committees and for us as a council alike. We need to get our businesses up and running again. I don't love the idea of a COVID task force. I feel that the more bureaucracy we add to this process, the more we spin our wheels and don't get a lot done. I'll leave that up to you. But anyway, those are my comments. Reopening. That's what we have to concentrate on. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for this council who supported the EDC's recommendation and allowed me to be part of that process with the council, the county, and be a voice for like, hello, we need to get these businesses open, and we got to make it so that it's not so complicated and difficult for these businesses to execute on that plan. So
Totally agree with you.
thank you. Councilman Alvarez.
Thank you, Chairman Eddie. Just wanted to, again, thank you for putting this together and kind of working in the spirit of collaborating with the chamber and kind of being goal oriented, striving to achieve the same goals, which is for the betterment of the businesses here in Miami Lakes. One of the things that I just wanted to put out there, as we're all seeking to move forward through this pandemic and what our next steps are, I would encourage the chamber, maybe in partnership with the Economic Development Committee, is to maybe collaborate with other chambers in Northwest Dade and exchange some of the best practices that we have here in Miami Lakes, but also learn from some of the best practices that you're seeing in other Northwest Dade communities like Hialeah Gardens and Hialeah and Doral. It'd be great to see at one point, and I know it'll be challenging to have so many people in a location, but I would love to see something of the Northwest chambers, kind of like a powerhouse forum where businesses from all across Northwest Dade, Miami Lakes, Doral, Hialeah Gardens, Hialeah, are really collaborating and discussing initiatives and best practices and really learning from one another. I think a testament to true leadership is, not only what we know, but what we learn from each other. Just like I myself have learned from Vice Mayor Rodriguez and Mayor Sid and the rest of the council members. I think at some point, when we're getting past this, I think thinking with the end in mind is that would be a great addition to bring to our local chamber and to EDC, which is to kind of collaborate and do something in partnership with other communities in Northwest Dade. Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you very much for your comments. Appreciate that. I love the idea of collaborating beyond our borders and with other chambers. That's a great idea. Councilman Rodriguez, Jeffrey Rodriguez.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Thanks again for everyone who participated and gave us comments. We have a lot to think about as a council, and I think this was a very, very good discussion. I love the idea of the EDC and the chamber working together on the online webinars. That's something that the chairman brought to us during our last special call meeting, where he was requesting additional funds. But if this is something that the chamber and the EDC can attack together to get businesses who would not normally focus on online distribution or online retail, that they can maybe open that avenue as a means of getting some additional revenue. Because honestly, we may open up the businesses, but I believe that we are not going to get back to a normal stream of retail for the significant future. I think even if we were to open up, which I agree we should start that process, it's not going to go back to normal from one day to the next. People are going to be hesitant. There's going to be a lot of trepidation with going out and being in public still. So I think focusing on getting our businesses and promoting online delivery, promoting takeout for restaurants, all that stuff is extremely important. So if these two, if the EDC and the chamber can work together to put together those webinars and put together a means of getting that information out there, I think it would be invaluable to the businesses of this town. So thanks again for allowing us to participate and sharing all your thoughts.
Thank you. Mayor Sid.
Well, thank you everybody for a very good discussion. Hopefully, it's a first of many. Heading in the right direction. I just wanted to put a spotlight on the chair and kind of walk through what I think is his thought process. He's the new kid on the block. It happened to me when I became mayor. I was a new kid on the block. I had a lot of energy. I wanted to change a lot of things I did, and sometimes not everybody change takes time. And I know he means well, and his heart's in the right place. I'll tell you this: he's been fighting to reopen our businesses and help them out. The other day, there were people on the internet who believe that our businesses shouldn't open, indefinitely, that we're assassinating his character, because he believes in businesses. He's on the county's task force. So I'm saying that because, and this is a message to everybody, because I know that his heart is in the right place, and I know that we all just got to work together, get things done, modernize our processes. I mean, certain things, I'll give you guys an example. When we used to talk about remote public comments, I got laughed at, right? People were laughing, yeah, that's crazy, that's never going to work. And now every city in the nation's doing this, and they followed our lead. So I think sometimes, when you're the new kid on the block, or you jump in and you want to reform things and change things, and it takes time, right? My message is to not only the chamber, but businesses and everybody. There's times, that change is tough, but I think change overall, it takes time. It's good. We gotta mold consensus, and to get there. But I can tell you this: his heart is in the right place. He's fought for our businesses. He's gone out. We're pushing it. He's on the county's commission to do this. And I saw it the other day online. I mean, there were people who singled him out of our entire community, and were literally assassinating his character because he was simply talking about economic development and reopening our businesses in our town. And there are people that believe that our businesses should be closed indefinitely, right? And I think until they feel comfortable, and I think it's a weird time that we live in. It's unprecedented. It's a novel virus. We've never seen it before. But I just wanted to touch upon that because I think sometimes things get lost in translation, and I know where he's coming from, and we got to keep just all keep working together. And you're all doing a good job, and make sure that we keep sitting down, having these discussions, little by little. But at the end of the day, we're all, it's the same goal, right? To get back on track, to do what's good. Tomorrow morning, I know most of the council, and I just want to reiterate this because most of the council, we're going to be at Royal Oaks Park at 10 o'clock in the morning. Right now, there are people lining up right now, which is heartbreaking. There are people lining up outside of Royal Oaks Park right now who are going to sleep overnight in front of the park simply to ensure that they are in line to get food. And a lot of these folks, they had jobs 2 months ago. They didn't need this, and they haven't received their unemployment checks, and they haven't received. So I think when you see this type of push, it's because we're seeing this out there. And I know Eddie went out there and he talked to a lot of these business owners and residents. So just wanted to touch upon that because I think sometimes, we, especially in these times, it's very stressful, very hectic, but you're all doing a good job, and every single, the chamber, the economic development, we just got to keep coming together and doing what's right for our community. And if you guys want to see what's happening on the streets, come out tomorrow and don't talk to me, don't talk to the council, chat with the people that are pulling up, ask them, what are your thoughts? What's happening to you and your family? And I think that's eye-opening. That's something I've been preaching to other elected officials throughout the county, even the county mayor. I'm like, come out to the streets, see what's going on. Do what Eddie did, do what a lot of you guys are doing. Talk to the people, and you'll see how forget about changing your mind. Your heart will change. You'll really start understanding what's happening in our society. Sorry to get on my soapbox, But I just think it got to a point in the discussion where I really wanted to bring it to a head. But thank you guys, all of you. Thank you very much. You're all my friends, and we're all in this together, and we will get through this together. And let's stay positive and optimistic. You're going to see our town bounce back like never before.
Mayor, I wanted to apologize to the group. We had for signing on late, we had a kitchen fire, and we had a couple calls today that were very long and weird. But you know, I'm all for getting the businesses open and getting it moving along. Thinking outside the box and being a creative thinker and looking at new options is never a bad thing. You know, I'm going to try to get the meeting from German and get the whole thing so I can get in touch with what was discussed. But at the end of the day, the businesses are hurting. We need to come up with other options to open them up, get them going. And if it means working with other chambers, that's fine, as long as we can get the advertisement and get it out there to get us reopen and get Miami Lakes moving again. I think we have a great opportunity, but we have a lot of businesses that have a lot of employees that are sitting at home not making any money, and it's getting to that point where the well is drying out. Some of the businesses are continuing to pay their employees, and their well is running out. So how long can that continue to go? That's my biggest concern. And so I think we can do it smartly and jointly, but we need to look at stuff. So I'll get together with Eddie and discuss the options that were discussed tonight, and get that information so that I can become educated on what happened with the meeting tonight. But again, I apologize for the late login.
Thank you for joining in here, and thank you for the service you do out there on the street with all that's going on. That's commendable. I just would like to close by saying that I've gotten to know Manny a little more over the last couple of years, and he knows that one of my skills is not being patient, and the other skill is that that I lack. The other skill, the other weakness that I have is I'm a little bullheaded, so I get that. But it's true that my heart is in the right place. I want. I'm always thinking about ways to make it happen, and pushing. I've never been one to wait around. I want to see things happen. I want to see them done fast. Sometimes to a point where it's not good for me. So I recognize that, and I want to acknowledge that. So I also want to say that we do have unprecedented times, and we're gonna have to work together. And I want to continue this, and I'm really excited about the start. I think Councilman Collazo hit it on the head. Like we are, we have a lot of work. We have a lot of work ahead of us, and this is the beginning of a good dialogue. And Jeffrey Rodriguez, he said, that we're gonna, opening the business, like Ms. Rano was saying, yes, that's true. We're gonna have to open the businesses, but it's gonna take a whole new normal to get my wife used to going to Publix to shop versus doing it online. It's gonna take people getting used to not shopping on Amazon again and going out to the street to buy things. It's gonna take a shifting, and we're gonna have to be working very diligently on creative ways to make that happen. So I'm not going to take any more of your time. I appreciate all your time. The EDC is going to be convening on May 14th, I believe. Willie gave me that date. I'm pretty sure that's correct still, May 14th. We'll be meeting to go over budget, and that'll be the discussion we'll have and make our final recommendations as to what we'll be doing. So thank you all. Anybody have any last words?
I do, real quick. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I wanted to, when you guys convene and you start brainstorming, perhaps maybe a campaign to dispel the myths of COVID, more education regarding how people do get sick or don't get sick. I think that we're safer than we believe, and educating the community on that will get them up and out sooner. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, I just wanted to add that our heart is in our community, in our business,
Yes.
We will work together, we will make it happen for sure.
Thank you,
Thank
Sarah.
you.
That means a lot to me. Thank you very much. Okay, so I guess point of
Mr.
order.
Black,
Yes.
don't tingle with the hand up.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
The meeting has gone on quite a bit, but it was a good one. I thought it was, having different people at the meeting makes it even better. Thank you, Eddie, for appearing in those 2 or 3 videos with Manny and Ed. You did a lot of work and telling people what to do from the beginning, by the way. So I gotta give you a handshake on that one. You were right up front with that, and you're still doing it. Also, in the paper today, Miami Herald, the people who read it, there's a whole page there about what's happening in each of the cities, Hialeah Gardens, and Manny made a nice comment there saying that Miami Lakes is wide open. That seems pretty positive. I think that's the best way to go, and I want to thank him for doing that. So we are in the paper. We are contributing with the other neighbors around us. So Miami Herald, keep them going. They're in bankruptcy too. So let's go, gang.
It's crazy, scary times.
Sure is.
Okay, so just point of, I guess we just closed the meeting. Okay, I guess we'll call the meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
Good
Have a
night.
good evening.
Stay safe, Miami Lakers.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Be safe. Thank you.